Hello, hello, loves, and welcome to the Love Life with Court show. As always, I'm your host, Courtney. If this is your first time tuning into the pod, well, welcome to the family, and if not, here is a warm welcome back. Today, I have the opportunity to introduce Farzin Mazinani, who is an award-winning author, holistic wellness practitioner, and transformational alignment coach. He helps high achievers avoid burnout and succeed with joy and ease instead of the hustle and grind so they can enjoy their journey. Thank you so much, Farzin, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here, actually.
Of course, likewise. Before we get into today's discussion, I would really love if you can take the opportunity to just discuss what has brought you to where you are today as an award-winning author, a holistic wellness practitioner, and a transformational alignment coach. You got a lot of credentials there.
So I'm going to start telling you about my journey from the time that I was 12 years old. So
Okay.
a 12-year-old boy usually is not concerned about the big questions and so on. We are trying to manage our life and go through ups and downs. But at that time, I had an urge to find some key questions, answer to the key questions, like why am I here? What is the purpose of life? And so on. So I had that inner calling that I have to find the answer for those, because I wanted to experience joy in my life. I was not happy with the situation that I was in. Everything looked perfect, but somehow I was not satisfied. I had to find the answer to those questions. So I started my journey as a seeker. So when you're a seeker, you go and find whatever you can, the paths, the books, the information, and the videos. At the time, there was not something like YouTube that you could search the things, and we didn't have internet, and so I had to find the information through mostly books. In that journey, I went through a lot of different paths, and I would go in and spend all my time in there, and I would conclude, no, it is not the one that I'm looking for. I'm looking for the highest, the top. So I would change paths all the time, and everybody was confused about my behaviors and the different things that I would go in. One day I was doing the meditation, the other one I was doing the prayer, the other day I was doing this and that. I was doing whatever I could to get closer to finding the answer. And so 12 years passed. So I was 24 years old. And I had a library of more than 1,000 books in my house.
Wow.
Because I was as I said, the only information you could get at the time was books. So I was collecting books and reading them and trying to find and capture the essence and so on. But I was not satisfied. After all that journey that I went from different paths, and I wasn't satisfied. So I was so frustrated. How can I find the answer? I made a radical decision. I said that I'm gonna go to a room which has no windows. I'm gonna close the door and turn the light off. I'm gonna stay there until I find the answer for joy. That I was looking for joy. So, and I did that. And when I wanted to go inside the room, somebody told me that you're gonna die in there because you don't know how long it's gonna take. You're gonna die from hunger. I said, yeah, maybe they are right. So I went to the market and bought some raisin. Actually, I took that with me just in case if it takes maybe a month or so because I didn't know how long it's gonna take. So I had that urge that I have to find the answer. So I went in, closed the door, turned the light off. It was absolute darkness. So I sat in the darkness, and then I went through a few experiences when it is you're in that situation, you don't know the passage of time, if it's day or night or which day is that. You don't have the sense what is outside, what is happening. So it's all you and yourself. So you have to face yourself. You can't escape it. So I went through some experiences, and I had a test at the time. So I would put the test in and I would fail. So I knew that it is not the one that I'm looking for. And in one of those experiences, something strange happened. I started feeling the heat from inside, and I felt that I'm burning from inside, and everything is shifting in me, and I started sweating and shaking, and all of a sudden everything was bright. In the absolute darkness, I saw different colors of lights, and I heard a lot of music, inner music, beautiful music that you cannot even experience on the outside. So I found out that all the joy that I was looking for is actually inside me. It's not on the outside. I was looking for it on the outside, through the books, through the wisdom, through the paths, but it was inside actually. So that was the big discovery. That was a big discovery. So I found out that there is a difference between joy and happiness. Because for happiness, you need an external factor to be happy. But joy is inside. When you have that joy, it doesn't matter what circumstance you are in. You have that kind of sense of joy. And it emits from you to the outside. You become like a sun that is spreading the lights. It's totally different. So I started to shift my perspective towards life. Before, I thought that I have to be careful, I have to be on my toes all the time, because people can hurt me, situations can make me trouble, I have to protect myself, I have to just be on the fight and flight mode all the time, stressed. So that was the situation that I was in before that experience. But after, I concluded that life is my friend. Life is actually my best friend. So if something happens to me and I don't like that situation, it means that I have received a gift in an ugly paper. The wrapping is ugly, but the gift is valuable.
Of course.
We threw the paper out because we know something valuable is inside that we are receiving from our best friend. So with that change of perspective, everything changed. You are not fearful anymore. So you start developing a sense of unity and love towards yourself and others. It starts from ourselves and goes out. And then I had that experience, but a few years after, when I immigrated to Canada, what happened was that I was working in a place and I had to start from scratch. I had to forget about all my background and everything, achievements I had. I had to start from scratch. So I was working in a place and I lifted something and I felt that my back froze at the time. And so I had back injury. And I lost my job. What happened was, when I lost my job, I had those kind of stress about how can I protect my family, how can I bring the income and those kind of things. But I found another job and I went to the therapy and everything looked better except for one thing. I kept that back pain for 15 years and it was chronic pain. So when it's chronic, it means that it's gonna stay with you for a long time. So almost every week I would get that frozen back again. And I had to go to therapy, physiotherapy or massage therapy or sometimes acupuncture and those kind of things to just release the pressure and be able to act normally. So almost every week for 15 years. And nothing was showing up in MRIs, the tests. Specialists couldn't help me to trace it back to say that this muscle is pulled, or nothing was showing up. And they couldn't help me. No medication would be effective. And I had that experience. So one day I met a friend of mine, and she said, maybe I can help you. So after 15 years of being in a new country, I was established. Everything was normal. I had my house and cars, and life was good, but except for that pain that I was carrying. And I was explaining that to her, and she said, maybe I can help you. I was suspicious at first. How could someone help me without any credentials? I went through all those specialists, they couldn't help me, and she says that she's going to help me. And she said, there's no harm, let's try it. And I was desperate, so of course I tried it. So she gave me a couple of phone calls. And then when she called me, she started a process of releasing the trapped emotions that I was carrying. And I didn't know what she is doing at the time. So she just went through the process, finished it, and she said, you should be fine. So I was fine for a week, and I thought it's going to come back. I'm going to have that experience of coming back, frozen back. But it never came back.
Enjoying the episode? Stay tuned for the full episode coming Monday, July 29th, 2024.